So today we took our longest trip in Ruby. We've had it for almost a year, but today we did a single day trip where we drove 363 miles. We took a circular route from home over to the Charlotte Supercharger, swung by the Charlotte Tesla store. Then we went by Marianne's uh, childhood home and high school, the high school she graduated from. Then we went and did some banking business at her hometown bank in Monroe. And then we drove on home. We stopped at Smithfield and had yummy fried chicken. Now that 363.44 miles is actually the miles that we drove, but we used 419.16 rated miles. So our efficiency worked out to be 86.71. We were actually driving for a total of 7 hours and 19 minutes. And we used a total of 130.49 kilowatt hours. The watts per mile averaged 359, and it was basically 82.7 degrees Fahrenheit. I saw as high as 95 degrees today. It was a very sunny, blue sky, warm day. One of the things we really like about Tesla Fi is it takes and maps each trip segment. In this case, this was our first segment of our trip where we went from home to the Tesla Supercharger in Charlotte. The interesting thing that's new with Tesla Fi is they now provide the elevation legend of the trip. We left home at approximately 315 feet of elevation, and somewhere along the trip we got as low as 160 feet above sea level. And then from the 160 foot mark, we climbed all the way up to 925 feet. And when we finally reached the supercharger, we were at 761 feet. So that lets you know that we basically went uphill to get to the supercharger. We drove a total of 2 hours and 45 minutes. We left home at approximately 9:17 and got to the supercharger at 12:02. That was 165.68 miles. We used 192.8 rated miles. We drove 75 miles an hour most of the way on the interstate, and we drove 65 miles an hour on the improved roads. I basically had autopilot on pretty much the whole way, and we were set at 5 miles above the speed limit. One of the things that we did this trip that is different than most people is we did never turn the air conditioner off. When we stopped, we left the air conditioner on. We did that. We left it on when we were at the supercharger. We left it on for 40. I'm sorry. We left it on for 30 minutes while Marianne ran in and did her banking business, and we left it on for 46 minutes while we went in and ate at Smithfield. The 30-minute air conditioner parking event used 3.76 rated miles, and the 46 minutes used 4.07 rated miles. So this was a very warm day, really sunny. We both were parked out in the sun. So basically, if you choose to just use camper mode or and just leave your air conditioner on so the car doesn't get hot, you could probably cost yourself up to 5 to 6 miles in a single hour. In our case, we really weren't concerned. I have to say we stopped longer than we probably anticipated, but I thought, the fact that we were basically making quick stops, that it was better just to keep the car cool than it was to let it heat up and then cool it back down when we got in the car. We had plenty of miles, plenty of range in our battery. So, you know, we basically, let's say, wasted some of the range just to keep the car comfortable.
So I think we accomplished everything we wanted to do today. We had intended to leave around 9 a.m. We were out of here around 9:15. We drove to the Charlotte Supercharger, plugged in, used the restroom. We're back on the road. We were at the Supercharger for 49 minutes. We knew we were only charging one time today. We knew we needed to charge somewhere between 70 and 90%. Dawn did some quick calculations and we decided to go with 90. That was trying to leave us a 15% cushion when we got home, and we were close to that. We went to the bank. Well, we went to Tesla and spent 42 minutes there. These are in order on the screen by the amount of time, with the highest at the top and the lowest at the bottom. But we were at Tesla for 42 enjoyable minutes.
Yeah.
Taking pictures, talking to the staff, sitting in the Model 3. You can look through the glass there and see the guys working on cars in the service bays. So that was really interesting. We all had a good time there. We went down to the bank. We didn't put the bank in as a destination, so it's not on the chart, but we know we were there for over 30 minutes. We stopped at Smithfield Chicken and Barbecue for 46 minutes and had dinner on the way home, and we popped in and put a red box back so we wouldn't incur a second day charge over in Sanford, also headed on the way home. So, you know, again, Tesla 5's done a good job here of summarizing where we were today and how long we were at those locations.
Okay, so one of the other really neat things about Tesla 5 is it details and draws a detailed chart of your supercharger. So in this one, we see that we started at 12:05 p.m. and completed at 12:50 p.m. We started at about 350-ish volts, and we finished at just under 410 volts. During that time, we charged, had a period of time when we started off, we were charging at 110 kilowatt, at a rate of 110 kilowatts. Right at 300 amps, 297 amps, and that the amperage dropped down after about 12 minutes. At 12:17, we went from the 290-ish amps down, pretty quick drop down to about 206 amps around 12:24. But you know, the kilowatt rate was still 81 kilowatt hours we were adding. So it was doing good. We were at 63% state of charge. But this is an example of, you know, when the battery is state of charge is lower, you get a higher charge rate. And really, the important thing to look at is the amps, which is the yellow line. Like I said, we started at, you know, something just a little over 300 amps, or right at 300 amps. And by the time we finished, we were woefully way down, like 89 amps. So we weren't charging very fast, but that was a conscious decision. We needed a 90% charge because once we left the supercharger, there really wasn't a convenient place to charge again until we got home. So we stayed and made sure we had plenty of charge, and we got home with 10%. And as I have explained in the earlier charts, we parked, we drove fast, we didn't try to spare any energy. And I have to say the consumption graph on the MCU was very accurate, and it kept me very comfortable all day, so that I knew exactly how the prediction was going to what we were actually using.
So we're headed today on a little road trip. It's kind of not a glamorous road trip, but it is a road trip. We're headed to Monroe, North Carolina, which is just south of Charlotte, North Carolina. That's where I spent, well, half my childhood. That's where I graduated from high school. And I have some business at the local bank, just tidying up a few things from my parents' estate. And we're gonna stop at the Tesla Charlotte Gallery, which is not too far from Mom and Dad's old house in downtown Monroe, and then come back. So it's actually about 150 miles in each direction. and you know, like 3 hours both ways, so plus stops at the bank, stops at my old house, old high school, stop at Tesla. So we're probably going to be gone 9 or 10 hours, something like that. Don has the car charged up to 270 miles of rated range. We had charged to our 80% last night, and then he plugged it in a little more this morning, but I have just chosen to go navigate to the Charlotte Supercharger, and it's calculating. We have plenty to get there without a problem, but we are trying to take the top half of this sort of loop over to Charlotte, and then a more scenic route down the southern side to come back home. We probably would do the southern side in both directions if we didn't need to supercharge at some point on this trip. But yeah, we'll get to Charlotte with 33%. We're going to charge up, and then when we come back out, we'll be coming across on 74, and then back up here through 421, I think, up to back home, up through Sanford. We'll be coming back up through Sanford. So we did quite a bit of research on Trip Planner. I'm going to say that we spent, you know, 20 minutes between the two of us on EVTRIPPLANNER, making sure that this route would work, and so we feel really comfortable with it. But we can't tell the car navigation exactly. We want to go north on the way over there and south on the way back and such, so that's why we just plugged in the Charlotte Supercharger. But I'll throw up the EVTRIPPLANNER site. Don also went to the Tesla site. They have their own sort of version of EVTRIPPLANNER now, and they all jive together, so we know that we won't have any trouble making the trip. Backup plan on the way home. We need more charge. We can go a little out of our way and come through Lumberton on that southern leg, but I think we're going to be fine.
This map shows the planning that I did on the EVTRIPPLANNER website for our trip down to Monroe. We kind of knew that we wanted to make a circle so we wouldn't do the same exact roads twice, so we'd see a little more countryside. The southern route is a more scenic route. It showed us going a distance of 328 miles. Says the cabin capacity, the weight was 400 pounds. You know, it estimates some of these things, and then some of them you can change. It estimated the watt hours per mile on a 90-degree day at 368, which is close to what we did. It does not take into account elevation in this particular case. But anyway, I used the local park near the house, down to Monroe, and then back to the local park, and you know, was able to get it to do this route, and it threw in the, you know, Charlotte Supercharger for us. So it ended up being pretty close to what we did, and I would recommend this website as sort of a little bit of a litmus test for what you're planning on doing if your trip involves multiple stops.
So we bought Johnny that little portable DVD player at Guardian Angel last week, and he's got his couple of red boxes and his pillow, and he's all set back there to enjoy his trip. Yeah, he's hooked up into the 12-volt with the one in the back. That way we didn't have to leave the little cover down here in the front open and be in mine and Don's way. But yep, he's all set back there with that. We charged it up last night and it works great. It was like brand new in the box, so he's a happy camper. So Don just said, I wish I'd remembered to check the tire air pressure just to make sure before he left. And then he said, oh, that's right, I can bring it up on the screen and see if the pressure is okay. Yeah. And we are sitting at 45, 45, 45, and 46, so we're good.
Yeah, the tire's a little warm now because we've driven 3 miles.
But that should be fine. That's certainly far from low.
They're not low.
Yeah.
For sure, they're not low.
So that was a little paradigm shift there. Instead of taking your trip and going out with your little handheld gauge and checking the pressure, just pop it up on the computer and go from there. So it's saying 2 hours and 23 minutes or 148 miles to the Charlotte Supercharger. We plan to stop along 8540 just the other side of Burlington at the rest area on the way down probably, and exchange that morning coffee and then keep going.
Right. Yeah, part of the reason that we chose this route was, part of it was the afternoon traffic. If we would have reversed the route, we would have been going through traffic in Charlotte at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. By the time we got to Monroe, did our business, stopped at the gallery, then went to the Supercharger. We could have easily did that, but then we would have been late afternoon, and this way we're basically getting to Charlotte early afternoon, and we'll be through before any of the traffic goes. And then the back way that we're coming home,
traffic's not an issue.
yeah, it's not going to be an issue. And plus we get to stop at the rest area on the way in the morning is way more important. It's probably about an hour from here we'll be able to stop and use the facilities at the interstate rest area, which is a really nice one on the side of 40 there.
Yeah, just saying, that's right. We'll have to stop before the car has to
that's
stop.
Right. I will have to stop.
So after we left our house, Don said that he was impressed with navigation from Ruby over to the Charlotte Supercharger, because we like to take the back road down past Sharon Harris Nuclear Power Plant. There's no traffic over here. The speed limit's 45. The road's good. There's a couple of extra turns. But you know, navigation normally wants to route you on the highest speed, best highway kind of a road. But now that we've plugged things in over the last year and continuously ignored the go up Highway 55 straight directions and turned left and headed over towards Sharon Harris, the navigation, it seems to us, has learned, let's go this back way. This back way is the way they want to go. So yeah, it's routing us right where we wanted to go without having to do a reroute. I think this is our 4th time where we've gone out of range and had to supercharge. We did that trip to New Bern early on with Ruby. We've been down to Wilmington. I've been over to the Scotland Neck to the Bird Park and had to supercharge in Rocky Mount, and now down to Monroe and back. But this one will be the longest single day mileage trip, the biggest round trip that we've done in a day, and probably right at what people can do in a day and it be comfortable, let's say.
Yeah, we're going to be in the car for over 6 hours.
Right. This is Sharon Harris Lake, part of the water that is surrounding the property for the nuclear power plant. Don's over here mumbling a bit because we went into a lower speed and auto steer lowered the speed down so that we weren't more than 5 over, and gave him a little message. But when we got back to 55, she didn't speed back up for me. He's like, come on, I'm waiting, speed back up now.
Yeah, she actually did just now sped up, but we are probably 2/4 mile or more past the speed limit sign.
You mean she didn't take off like a rocket as soon as the speed limit changed on the window?
No, she didn't take off like a rocket.
Oh God. Come on, Ruby, stay between the lines, girl.
Well, she's doing good. It's just these curves are curved.
Now look, we know that autopilot is not intended for this road, okay? We understand, we get it. Anytime we've entered a curve or come near another vehicle, Don's taking her out. But he's having a little fun, being pretty hyper vigilant, and you know, when there's nobody around us out here, just kind of testing the limits of what she'll do.
So she's doing 60, but we're fixing to change to this 55, but it's fixed to drop to 35.
35, we're hitting the city limits, so, probably at Pittsburgh.
All right, 1,000 foot ahead it says. Now watch, as soon as we go by this 35, it'll basically really slow up.
There's the 35 sign. Let's see what she does over here.
Gotta hang this curve first.
Oh, whoa, whoa.
Well,
whoa.
She did it. But she did definitely
I can't believe. Oh, she did, yep.
Yes,
Auto steer speed restricted to 40, so it's gonna let Don go 5 over, and that's it. And that was, I'm sorry I can't point the camera 2 places at once, maybe on the dash cam, but that was one serious curve and she handled it okay. So, you know, Don likes to teach the car. He thinks he's teaching the car.
Thanks. Nose.
So, originally she said we were gonna get down to the Charlotte Supercharger with 33% range, but Don was going a little heavy there on the back road, and now she's saying we're gonna get there at 25%, but we're also fixing to be more efficient, probably lowering our speed just based on this different road, Highway 64, that we're getting on. So we're curious if it'll bump back up. But at any point, I think Don wants you to know that he's not trying to do anything to conserve range. He's just enjoying the ride.
Yeah, I'm not doing, that's right. I'm not hypermiling. I'm just driving her the way I want to go.
As he said a couple times, I'm just driving her exactly as if I was in the GMC and I just get into my destination.
Right.
So we're tracking below the line, and it's because Don and I missed a turn and we probably put on an extra 5 miles or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was probably closer to 10. Yeah, that was all me. I wasn't, I thought I knew where I was going. I wasn't paying attention to navigation. And of course, when you make a mistake like that, then you get to go through construction and where they're tarring the road, with putting tar on the road in your nice car. So that means you get to try to find some other way to avoid the tar. And all that does is you find out that there is no way to go but the exact way through the tar. And the instant you get on the other side of the tar, then you get to turn and get off the tar. But you have to go all the way through the tar. You can't go around the tar. That is not allowed.
Yeah, well, thankfully for us, by the time we made it back to the intersection where they were filling the cracks in the road with the tar adhesive stuff, they had put powder down and they had moved on, and several cars had driven over it. So we don't think we got anything up on Ruby. We're hopeful.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
we're hopeful.
Well, she's got plenty of protection. I mean, it's just, tar's just another one of those things you try to not get tarred and feather in your life, and I don't want Ruth to get tarred either, so,
Well, I went through an intersection yesterday and they were putting us on the untarred lane, but they were tarring on the right, and the guy, he kept on waving at me, and I'm like, look buddy, I'm doing 3 miles an hour through here. It's only a couple 100 feet and you're just gonna have to wait. And he's waving and waving and waving. I'm like, hi. Not speeding up, not throwing it up on Don's clean car, not happening. Well, Don is pleased. He's following closer to the original line now. And we are getting ready to make our way south. We've been going more north and west, and now we're going south. Wow.
That's what I said. Look at that piece of steel.
Well, Don is not going slow. He's going what you would expect for an interstate, and we are now tracking the line. He's very pleased.
Yep.
We did not stop at the rest area. Guess we just didn't need it, and we're making good time getting to the Charlotte Supercharger. Don just asked for the tuck visor, and I pulled it out between the seat and the console where we've been storing it, and he says much better. His arm was getting really hot, and it's totally helping.
Very good. Very happy. That's working well.
Not causing us any real problems, no backups, but yeah, it's interstate system. You just gotta love what a construction zone mess it can be at times. So I clicked on the supercharger icon, and it's saying 8 stalls of 8 stalls available, so looks like we won't have any trouble charging. Wouldn't have expected it, but always good to double check. All right. Don suggested that I start a stopwatch to see exactly how long it takes to get off the interstate and get to the supercharger stall, because that's a consideration when you're stopping, is how long does it take for you off of your route to get to where you need to be to charge. And we're suspecting not very far here, but who knows.
So we started the stopwatch when I basically
got into the exit lane.
Like, right.
Yeah.
And of course, we have not ever been to the Charlotte Supercharger, so this is a learning experience for us.
You missed me shouting that, yay, go UNC 49ers, Charlotte 49ers, because that's where I got my math degree at. I went to school at UNC Charlotte. This place has changed a lot, though, since I graduated in December of 1990.
Right.
0.3 miles.
In 1,000 feet, your destination will be on the right.
Thank you. So I guess you got to turn in.
Oh, 1,000 feet.
Maybe where that car just went up there.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe the school
It's got to
bus.
be in here near McAllister's and Firehouse Subs and
I'm
stuff.
Now your destination is on the right.
Yeah, it was probably there.
It's right there. I see it. It's next to the Walgreens of all places.
Well, I thought it was this light. That wasn't very helpful. So we made the rookie mistake of went one place too far. I should have got over.
Well, if you'd have turned where I told you.
That's right. Well, but
I'm just teasing him,
it
guys.
said 1,000 feet, and that's like, well, you know, if it had said 600 feet, I'd have jumped on it. But 1,000 is not, you know, right here. That's 300 yards.
I always tend to turn too soon, and Don always tends to turn too late.
Right. Yeah. Well, I accept that.
Right now, we're right at 4 minutes off the interstate.
Yeah. So we could have been there in approximately
4 minutes.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's not going to take us too long here.
Yeah. So.
We're only past it by a smidge.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to turn in here. And of course, it doesn't say that the supercharger is in Cochrane Commons, you know, or
That would be really helpful.
something. That would have been a little bit more helpful. All right, so I'm going to be, I guess we get on the, I guess I'm going to go on that far side.
Yeah, the other Tesla over here now, there is one is on the far side.
Yeah. All right, so, yeah, I'm gonna.
All right, so we're right at 4 minutes and 50 seconds. So we're plugging in at 12:02 p.m.
Okay, now the first thing we want to do.
Close the door screen.
Oh.
Here, close the door screen.
Oh, I thought
I said close the door screen. Why can't I close the door screen?
I don't.
I think the center console. Oh, okay. Phew.
Well,
I never
it's-
seen it do that before.
It's trying to check charger power. Oh, great.
There it goes.
Supercharging. Okay. 39 kilowatts. That's what I wanted. I didn't want to do. I wanted to do a good job plugging it in. It went in first time.
Well, I think the center screen's hung. I think you should reboot the center screen. It never is unresponsive like that. So Don's holding down both scroll wheels. You have to wait till the T comes. And it takes, 40 seconds. It's longer than you want to hold something. I don't hear the car making a lot of noise, so I'm not convinced it started charging yet. You know, the whir that you hear sort of underneath the car, I don't hear it.
How long do I have to hold this?
Until you see it. As long as it takes. It's longer than you want. Did I not say that? I did, yes. She'll come back in a minute.
I mean, it went in, it felt good. We're on 3.
All right, we're charging at 115 kilowatts. We're
All right.
good now.
Okay.
We're fine.
Now, what I was trying to say is,
You want the air conditioning
I don't want it to turn off.
so it stays
Even if
nice
we
in
leave
here.
the car to go pee or
Okay, so we've turned
whatever.
climate on.
I want the air conditioner to run. I don't want the car to get hot just while we're, I just don't want any of that.
All right, so we got a good charging speed. And that time to
And I heard the
supercharge
hum.
will come down as soon as it gets cranking a little bit. It's not going to take an hour and 20 minutes.
Right.
And if I may say, I think I heard the fans. That
Yeah,
go
I
on.
hear the hum underneath the car now.
I hear
So
the fans.
there is a McAllister sub place which we
It's a
weren't
free.
which we weren't planning on. There is a 3. Wow. Way cool. Midnight Silver 3. Backing into Supercharge. So as I started to say, there's a McAllister's place over here to eat subs, and there's a Harris Teeter here, grocery store, which I'm sure we can go in and use the restroom. And there's I see it's now 12:35. We're back to the car after using the restroom and getting Johnny something to eat. There are now 6 Teslas here, 2 X's, 3 S's, and a 3. So it's pretty busy. Our charging is coming right along, although we're, of course, as the battery fills, we're down at 64 kilowatts now. But we are close to 80%.
Yeah, we're very close to 80. We're like 77, 70.
Yeah, something like that. So Dawn has plugged in navigation to get us over to Tesla Charlotte, and it's a 28-minute trip, 26 miles. Shouldn't be, it's gonna take us on a loop sort of around Charlotte to get down there, so we're doing good. So on the way into Harris Teeter, we did have a really nice conversation with the owner of the Model 3, a really nice family guy. He is really happy with his car. He's got close to 2,100 miles, I think he said. Was just really friendly, nice guy to talk to. We had a, you know, good back and forth conversation. Always like meeting friendly Tesla drivers on the road and at the superchargers. So Don's been busy doing some calculations. You know, it's a little harder when A, you want to go a direction that's not what the navigation says, and B, you're making multiple stops.
So I went through Google Maps and I put the thing in Google Maps, and it says it's 177 miles. From where we are to go to the Tesla store, then go to the bank in Monroe, and then to go home. So it's 177 miles. So on the way over here, we were driving probably faster than what we would have or will be on the return trip. So it said we used 367 watts per mile. Remember, I wasn't trying to save energy at all. I drove exactly the way
we were cool. We had the air conditioner cranked, front and back.
Yeah, so at 367 miles times 180 is 66 kilowatts. So obviously with a 100-watt battery, that's 66%. 100 kilowatt battery makes it real easy to do percentages. But we want a 20% buffer on top of the 66%. So 85%, 86% is plenty. Now our rated miles of our car is 295. So 295 times 0.85 equal 250.75. I told Marianne we're going to stay here to about 250 miles. We are now at 250 miles. So
did you calculate in the 20 miles out to my parents' old house and back to Monroe, because we need 20 miles for that little trip too?
So we're going to stay probably till 90%. So instead of 180, I'll use 109. Anyway, the bottom line is that's going to take another 3 kilowatts. So instead of 66, it's going to take 70. Plus a 20% buffer is 90%, which is 90 kilowatts. So we'll charge to 90. And of course, I can't do math in my brain. Rated miles is 296 times 0.9 equal 266 or 267 miles. So we'll leave at 267 miles, and that'll give us a 20% margin, and I predict we'll get home with 25%, assuming that I don't take us off on any more or tangent goose chases or anything. So yeah, I don't know, how long have we been here?
We have currently been here, because I still have the stopwatch going, 47 minutes minus 5. We've been here 42 minutes.
So we've been here 42 minutes. The car is not charging super fast. It's charging at 44, 43. I mean, we were charging well over 100, but we're down now. But at this point, we're...
How did you get the little hit...
so you can...
Yeah, so you can see we're approaching 90 on the little hashtag
so
up
there. I'm just gonna bump it to 90%. All right, so now it's 90%.
Yeah, now we can see for sure where we have to go to.
So it says that we got 15 more minutes, and the reason it's gonna take 15 more minutes is I'm probably being way high on my buffer, and the fact that we're now down to charging at 42 kilowatts because it's getting closer to being full. But you know, we don't want to have to
divert to Lumberton to charge because we don't have enough charge.
Right.
So this is better. We'd rather be patient here, I think.
Right.
That's the right decision
Plus,
for
we're
us.
letting Johnny finish his lunch before he puts it all over the...
So just so you know, I do sometimes let people eat in my car.
With very much precaution.
Right, exactly. He's all napkined up and being real careful back there. He's got a trash bag and everything.
It's already dropped to 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's already dropped to 10 minutes, so that's good. Well, we just had one Tesla pull away, one less car charging up here. Of course, the charge rate slows due to the load and due to the batteries now pretty full. It's been another 2 minutes and charging is complete. So 12:51, and on my stopwatch timer we're at 54 minutes minus 5, so that was a 49 minute charging stop. Don's getting out the
Got to do a U-turn
to get going back to the interstate.
Right. So
yep.
the way that we came in would have been fine to.
We should have went out the way we came in instead of going out back onto this road, because then we had to do a U-turn.
Right.
Yeah, go back out by the Walgreens over here.
Yeah, don't come in.
Then you can decide left, right, north, or south. The way we came, you got to make it. 1 minute navigation was taking us on the loop on the eastern side of town, and then the next thing we knew, we're basically going through downtown. I'm sure this is shorter and okay at 1 p.m. on a Thursday, as long as she didn't try to do this at 4 p.m. But I'm sure traffic conditions right now are okay. However, I will point out that I bet that eastern loop, even if it was a couple more miles, was no construction, wider lanes, and less traffic. Kind of like the toll road up near us. It's a newer road and it's a cut through. It's sort of, it would not be this busy. But we're going to get a little bit of a hazy view of downtown Charlotte here in a minute.
11 on the right onto North Carolina 16.
I told Don I'm really glad he's driving all of these turns and bumpy construction area and narrow lanes and crazy city drivers. I don't want no part of it, so I'm really appreciative that he's driving right now. I would do it, but I would be white-knuckled and miserable.
In 1 mile, take exit 2B on the left onto Independence Boulevard toward North Carolina 27 East.
Yeah, I mean, I used to drive Independence Boulevard, Highway 74 every day coming back and forth to UNC Charlotte, but not this close to downtown. So if you're not from North Carolina or you're not from the United States, a little geography lesson here. Raleigh is the capital of North Carolina. However, Charlotte is a much bigger city. There's more banking. I guess between Washington, D.C. and Atlanta, Charlotte's the biggest city. So, yeah, it's pretty substantial down here driving. I feel like we're on the Beltline in D.C. or something instead of in North Carolina. I'm glad this isn't the city Johnny goes to school in, right? I mean, I go into downtown Raleigh and it's no big deal, but if I had to go into downtown Charlotte every day, not happening. So my very first concert ever was over here at what is now called the Bojangles Coliseum, but was at the time the Charlotte Crown Coliseum, but it's this big silver dome building coming up here on the right. And I guess I'll admit that I saw Culture Club, that my dad waited in line with me overnight to get tickets, and that then we went to see them. So yeah, this building right here. This is the quote-unquote old Coliseum. Well, what they've done with Highway 74 is really freaking me out over here. It used to be just one of those busy little 3-lane divided highways with all of these shopping centers on the side that people would be pulling out and stop and go traffic. And it's, you know, we're actually pretty express through here now. They've made it so you've got less access to the road. You got to go around a little bit to get where you can get on and off. They've restricted the access more. So we're basically approaching the part of 74. We just went past some car dealerships. So I told Dawn I thought Tesla was pretty much down here by the Honda place. where I bought my 91 Integra. They're really on the side of town where there's a lot of other well, not a lot of other car dealers, but where the car dealers are, they're kind of not too far from them. Because I certainly don't want to call that Tesla a car dealer.
There's our first traffic light.
Yeah, I'm impressed with the work they've done on it. It's been quite some years since I've been down this way, and yeah, Dawn's on traffic aware cruise control right now, and she did brake for this light. Well, for the car in front of us who stopped at the light. All right, she told us to get left, and now our destination is on the right. Well, Ruby, the Tesla was on the right, and now we're totally on the wrong side of the road, so navigation did not correctly route us to Tesla.
Yeah, that was a
Boo
fail.
hiss, boo
That was
hiss.
a fail. It'd be great if we were going to the Harley place. There's a Tesla.
She waved. Well, when you're all the way left and you see Tesla on the right on Independence Boulevard, you can't just zoom across the the highway. So
There's something going on down there.
now
What's this
look,
flashing?
we love our Raleigh Tesla people, and the only reason why we're going down here to Tesla in Charlotte is because I wanted to check it out, because we've not been here before, and give us something else to do on our trip to Monroe to go to the bank, right? Because we don't have a lot of time, but we've got a little bit of time. So but this showroom is bigger, and there's a lot of politics going on in the state of North Carolina with Tesla, because yeah, they've had some issues. The state's not been as friendly to them as they should. It's happened in other states too. So at some point I feel we're gonna get a nicer, larger showroom in Raleigh. We just don't have it yet. So patiently waiting, very patient. Like I said, it's more about the people than it is about the building. And
So-
the people in Raleigh are awesome.
When you see the Hyundai dealer, slow down.
Yeah, and it's on the right, just past Hyundai coming out of Charlotte. That's right.
It's supposed to be dealership central.
But you won't miss it. You just might go past it,
Well, there's
because
only, like-
it's big. It says Tesla on it. There's a big red Tesla T sign over here and everything. So, you know. Wow, look at all the Teslas up here and all in one spot. There's even X's just sitting over here on the lot, Donnie. Wow. They have a pull-through service bay area. That's too cool too. Yeah, you park someplace where you're happy. I think you can see into the service bay over here, Johnny. This is great.
Is that red a different color red? That must be the boundary red? What color?
Oh wow, that red over there, Don's right on, that X is not our red. Huh.
Could be wrapped.
It could be wrapped. Johnny is correct.
That's true too. It's probably what it is. Yep, they sure do. Well, they have coffee in Raleigh too. Coffee.
That's not sodas and chips and all this stuff.
Restrooms. Model 3 restrooms. That's funny. Yep. A nice place to sit. Nice place to sit.
Fancy.
Oh, Johnny, come look over here, bud. I guess we're allowed to be here, sorta, maybe. It's got a glass. You can sort of see the service bay over there.
We should be allowed to go here.
Are we allowed to step forward, or are we in trouble if we do that? Okay.
I can't allow you out there though.
Yeah, I knew that. Wow, check that out. That's pretty cool. It looks very similar to the inside of Tesla Raleigh service, in
Except
that they have the
20 times
same
bigger.
red lifts, and we noticed the little clock things keeping track of how long they've been working on the car and stuff, but they have more space here. A lot more space.
Wow. This is like 20 times bigger. Tesla Raleigh does not have a waiting room.
Not only do they have snacks, but they also have books.
I read this one.
You sure did, and Dawn and I read the adult version. Way cool. I haven't seen this book is about rockets though. Neat. That's really impressive that they have a Model 3, and it's red. I like this view. All right, Don's got water, but he's got his Tesla coffee cup to take home. Yep, he had to reach out, guys, and pull the door closed. Yeah, it's all us spoiled ex-people. How's it feel back there, buddy?
Small.
Smaller than the X. Yeah, he's pulling it forward a bit. Oh, you got plenty of room back there. Never sit behind the driver, always sit behind the shorter passenger. Yeah. Efficient to stop by my parents' former home and my high school first and then go to the bank in Monroe, so that's where we're headed. South on Rocky River Road. I'm waiting to see when we go past the chicken coops if we need to turn on bioweapon defense mode. Boy, back in the day I wish I'd have had that. The corn's looking good in the field. All nice and healthy. We usually get corn out of the fields here around July the 1st, second week in July maybe. Definitely it's a big curve, strong curve, sharp curve.
Hey, it's slowing down.
People used to run off the curve. Ruby slowed down
all by herself.
Wow, Ruby took that
38 miles an hour.
Wow, right. Donnie had it set for 60 on a 55 and she slowed down big time. So way to go, Ruby.
Some Tesla had come through there before.
Well, people used to run off into the field, Donnie. And be people off in the field all the time. So there's a big solar farm up there. Wow, back that way and over this way.
Yeah, this hill you might be able to get a better view.
Wow, lots of solar cells.
Yep, acres and acres of it.
Wow. Oh, over here too, it just goes on for forever.
Guess this is where Monroe gets his powers.
It's possible.
There's a sign there, but it says Duke Energy. It's a Duke Energy's solar farm. Wow.
It's making some power right now. This is sunny, full sun, peak angle, you know, 2:30 in the afternoon.
Donnie's driving these curves over here like when I was back in high school. I used to drive them a little faster. It's a fun. Oh, there's a school bus up here. It's gonna spoil our fun, Donnie.
Yeah, I got it.
All right, here comes the old homestead. There's the Arkwright's house. And over here is my parents' former house. And Don said he's a little surprised they haven't thinned out the trees down here at the road, which they haven't. I noticed a really big hole back over there over the garage though. Probably maybe this tree had come down in the turnaround. I mean, all you can really see from down here is the garage doors. Yeah, so, you know, when you get old, the years pass by. It's been since 2011 since we've been here. Yeah, we did a remote sale, so we never met the people that bought the house. I'm just walking up here just far enough to see it. Hopefully nobody's home and I'm not bothering anybody. It is a little sad that Dad's not here. Definitely a little sad. I'd say they're still burning the wood burning stove because there's a special flue on attachment on top of the chimney. Yeah, I swear it hasn't changed a lick since the day we moved out. Don helped me get the house on the market after my father passed. Dad's azaleas over here. He used to have the flag up on the flagpole every day. Yep, looks the same. All right, here's Parkwood High, no longer the home of the fighting rebels. Yeah, you gotta love the South.
Well, we're getting modern. Tennis courts.
Now, I only really was out here for 2 years because I went to the magnet school called the Union County Career Center up closer to Monroe. But this is officially the school that I graduated from. I took Spanish here, Johnny. Mr. Lynch. I remember, watched a couple of football games here on the football field. The football field and the bleachers, they don't look like they've changed a lick. They really don't. I'm sure they must have, but they don't look it. Yeah, I graduated salutatorian in 1986. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say this is 70s, early 70s.
Well, we'll have to look up what year it was constructed. I don't really know. And then over here's the middle school. And I went to middle school over. I started 6th grade in North Carolina after moving down from New Jersey. And the middle school is the Bears. Yep. Parkwood Middle. Street, Monroe.
Downtown Monroe.
Yep. So there's the Center Theater. They're still restoring that old theater. I saw Purple Rain there when I was in high school when they were still showing movies at it. Interesting. They've been doing a lot on the National Restored Movie Theater database. Well, it's not too dissimilar from downtown Fuquay. Maybe a little older.
Yeah, well, it was just bigger to start with.
Right. Well, there's a very historic courthouse. The new courthouse is straight in front of us.
Right, this is the county seat. That's
and
right.
The old courthouse is up here too. The old courthouse is a gorgeous building. The old courthouse is on the right. Like I said, the new courthouse is straight ahead. So you could please go up one more block for me. I'm not going to make Don stop for me to take pictures of the courthouse today because I have some really good pictures from previous trips. So my parents' old safety deposit box is in this building, and when we left town I never closed it out, and I'm going to go close it out today. It used to be United Carolina Bank. Now it's a branch of BB&T. So this is the old train station depot in Monroe. Huh. Oh, here's where. So I like trains, and I just wanted to come in here and drive past the old train depot here in Monroe, Seaboard Systems. It almost looks like those diesel CX engines are getting ready to move. It's been hearing the air brakes as I walked over. So this is a really large switching yard here in Monroe. I forget, I counted one time, it's either 6 or 8 tracks. Obviously some just on their way through, and some times they just sit here for a while. Well, I would love to see a train come through, but I don't think that's going to happen. Yep, wish there'd been a train coming through today. So we're heading out of town. We're reminiscing good meals that we used to eat at Quincy's. Making note that the car currently says we get home with 15%, but Don says he's not worried, so I'm not going to be either. First off, that's plenty of cushion, and second off, we'll probably do better as far as kilowatt hours once we get moving a little bit. We've just been sitting and parked for here for the last little bit. Just like Don said, we're averaging 337 watt hours per mile right now instead of 387 like we did on the way down. And we're still showing we're going to arrive home with 16%. So we're doing good. It's 4:45 p.m. Beautiful Carolina, big cloud sky today, so it's just a pleasure to be in the car. Not too hot and a great view.
Yeah, we're coming into Rockingham.
We just came through the historic district of Rockingham, and lots of really nice older houses. We were wondering what Rockingham's claim to fame is, and we're not sure. Don says something besides the NASCAR track, which is now no longer where they race.
Right.
All right, we're getting pelted with just a couple of raindrops from that really dark cloud up there. We're hopeful to skirt past it without it really raining. This is Rockingham Motor Speedway.
Yeah, used to be one of the original NASCAR sites, going way back into the late 50s, early 60s. They stopped running here about, 20 years ago, maybe not quite that long, a long time ago.
The only NASCAR race I've ever been to was at this speedway. I loved that there were pits on both sides of the track, and I was on the back side of the track in a little covered section. It was a very enjoyable race.
Yeah, I came to the race in about 1995, maybe 1996.
And my race would have been 1984.
Right.
We're over here near Aberdeen, and we're going to Smithfields. We all like it. It's a good place to eat on the road.
But unfortunately, only North Carolina only.
Right. Don's so confident he left the air conditioning running while we were in Smithfields.
Yeah, I don't like hot cars.
Right, well, it just takes a lot of energy to cool it back down and just a little energy to keep it where it was. So although we are in the shade, it's late in the day, and well, it is 89 out there. It doesn't feel terrible today though. The humidity is
really
still low. Yeah, the humidity's low, it's helping. So our bellies are full. We've had a few sips of coffee. We're headed to the house. How far to the house? About an hour.
61
just
miles.
shy of an hour. Yep, that's what happens when you leave the AC on while you stop for a while. Told you. We've got 25 miles and 29 minutes to go, and we're not losing anything on this line, so I'm calm. Dom's calmer than me though.
Oh, it's fine. You've got, we'll get home with, 10%, probably 20 to 25 miles.
Getting ready to turn into our neighborhood, and so yeah, we made it home and things are fine. Don said our prediction of going 197 miles and our calculations was spot on. We're just slightly over 196 right now.
Right, we ate up the buffer by leaving the air conditioner on. When we were at everywhere we stopped.
At Tesla, at the bank, and while we ate dinner, we left air conditioning on in the car.
Yeah, I had climate, what do they call that?
Let me just keep it on. Keep climate on.
Keep climate on, yeah.
Well, Bjorn calls it camper mode.
Camper mode, yeah.
I think it will forever be called camper mode. Tux is the first cat on the scene. Hey, buddy, we'll get you some food in a minute, although I did leave them extra this morning. They're not hurting. You know I don't not take care of those cats.